एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Thank you for joining today, and I would like to beg the blessings of all of the assembled Vaishnavas so that I can speak on the subject matter of Bhagavad Gita as it is. So I'll quickly share my screen. So host, if they can give me permission, I can quickly share my screen. Thank you. Okay, I hope you are all able to see my screen. So we are on chapter 6 and 25th verse. Please repeat after me. शने शने उपारमेद
शने शने उपारमे
बुद्धया धृति गृहीतया
बुद्ध्या धृति गृहीत्या
आत्मसंस्थापना मना कृत्वा
आत्मसंस्थं मनः कृत्वा
न किञ्चिदपि चिन्तयात्।
न किञ्चिदपि चिन्तयेत्।
शनै शनैरुपारमेत्
शनैः शनैरुपरमेत्
बुद्ध्या धृति गृहीतयः
बुद्ध्या धृति गृहीतया
आत्मसंस्थापं मनः कृत्वा
आत्मसंस्थं मनः कृत्वा
न किञ्चिदपि चिन्तयेत्।
न किञ्चिदपि चिन्तयेत्।
शनै शनै उपारमेत्
शनैः शनैरुपरमेत्
बुद्ध्या धृति गृहीतया
बुद्ध्या धृति गृहीतया
आत्मसंस्थं मना कृत्वा
आत्मसंस्थं मनः कृत्वा
न किञ्चिदपि चिन्तयेत्।
न किञ्चिदपि चिन्तयेत्।
So anybody would like to recite?
शनैः शनैरुपरमेत्
शनै शनैरुपारमेत्
बुद्ध्या धृति गृहीतया
बुद्ध्या धृति गृहीतया
आत्मसंस्थं मनः कृत्वा
आत्मसंस्थं मनः कृत्वा
न किञ्चिदपि चिन्तयेत्।
न किञ्चिदपि चिन्तयेत्।
चिन्तयेत्। Anyone else?
शनैः शनैरुपरमेत्
शनै
शनैः शनैरुपरमेत्
बुद्ध्या धृतिगृहीतया
बुद्ध्या धृति गृहीतया
आत्मसंस्थं मनः कृत्वा
आत्मसंस्थं मनः कृत्वा
न किञ्चिदपि चिन्तयेत्।
न किञ्चिदपि चिन्तयेत्।
Okay, so we'll go to word. शनैः
शनैः
gradually. शनैः
शनैः
step by step.
step by step
उपारमेत्
उपरमेत्
one should hold back.
one should hold back
बुद्ध्या
बुद्ध्या
by intelligence. धृति गृहीतया
धृति गृहीतया
carried by conviction.
married by conviction
आत्मसंस्थं
आत्मसंस्थं
placed in transcendence.
placed in transcendence
मनः
मनः
mind
mind
कृत्वा
कृत्वा
making
looking
न
न
not किंचित
किञ्चित्
anything else
anything else
अपि
अपि
even
even
चिन्तयेत्.
चिन्तयेत्
To think of.
should think of.
Thank you, Mataji. So translation and purport by His Divinity Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence, sustained by full conviction, and thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. Purport. By proper conviction and intelligence, one should gradually cease sense activities. This is called pratyahara, the mind being controlled by conviction, meditation, and cessation from the senses should be situated in trance or samadhi. At that time, there is no longer any danger of becoming engaged in the material conception of life. In other words, although one is involved with the matter as long as the material body exists, one should not think about sense gratification. One should think of no pleasure aside from the pleasure of the Supreme Self. This state is easily attained by directly practicing Krishna consciousness. So you see this purport is, we have something to discuss, but we'll also go to 6.26 so that we can cover at least 2 verses. Yato yato nischalati. You can repeat after me.
O yato yato nischalati.
Manas chanchalam astiram.
Manas chanchalam astiram.
Tatah stato niyamayet yat.
Tatastato niyamai tad.
Atmani eva vasham nayet.
Atmanyeva vasham nayet.
Yato yato nischalati.
Yato yato nischalati.
Manas chanchalam astiram.
Manas chanchalam astiram.
Tatastato niyamyetat.
Tatastato niyamyetad.
Atmani eva vasham nayet.
Atmanyeva vasham nayet.
Yato yato nischalati.
Yato yato nischalati.
Manas chanchalam astiram.
Manas chanchalam astiram.
Tatastato niyamyetat.
Tatastato niyamyetad.
Atmani eva vasham nayet.
Atmanyeva vasham nayet.
Anybody wants to recite?
Yato yato nischalati.
Yato yato nischalati.
Manas chanchalam astiram.
Manas chanchalam astiram.
Tatastato niyamyetad.
Tatastato niyamyetat.
Atmanyeva vasam nayet.
Atmani eva vasham nayet. Okay, nobody else, then we'll go to the word by word. Yataha yataha,
Yataha yataha.
wherever.
Wherever.
Nischalati,
Nischalati.
becomes verily agitated.
Becomes verily agitated.
Manaha,
Manaha.
mind.
The mind.
Chanchalam,
Chanchalam.
flickering.
Flickering.
Astiram,
Astiram.
unsteady.
Unsteady.
Tataha tataha,
Tataha.
from there.
From there.
Niyamya,
Niyamya.
regulating.
Regulating.
Etat,
Etat.
is.
This.
Atmani,
Atmani.
in the self.
In the sun.
Eva,
Eva.
certainly.
Certainly.
Vasam,
Vasam.
control.
Control.
Nayet,
Nayet.
must bring under.
Must bring under.
Translation by Purport by Srila Prabhupada. From wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. Purport: the nature of the mind is flickering and unsteady, but a self-realized yogi has to control the mind. The mind should not control him. One who controls the mind and therefore the senses as well is called Goswami or Swami. And one who is controlled by the mind is called Godasa or the servant of the senses. A Goswami knows the standard of sense happiness. In transcendental sense happiness, the senses are engaged in the service of Rishikesha or the supreme owner of the senses, Krishna. Serving Krishna with purified senses is called Krishna consciousness. This is the way of bringing the senses under full control. what is more, that is the highest perfection of the yoga practice. So we have discussed these verses. I mean, we have read these verses. So 25 verse, what it says that gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance, because we are discussing Dhyana Yoga. And in Dhyana Yoga, we know there are the 8 steps, and it's saying that when we meditate, when we cease our senses to act in the sensual activities, and we meditate, then we are in the pratyahara state. So this is called a pratyahara state, by means of intelligence and sustained a full conviction, and thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone. So the mind should be fixed on the self alone. So what Prabhupada says. So what does this mean by mind should be fixed in the self? So we are self, right? As Krishna is also self. So like when you see the sun, your eyes are fixed up and you see the sun. If you see the sun, then only you see yourself. Correct. So if I say that in the night, sometime what happens when the light is not there, or all these electrical arrangements that being done by the modern science, if it is not there, then what happens? We are not even able to see ourselves, right? When all these artificial lights are not there, and obviously the natural light is not there because it's being a night. So what happens in that dense darkness? We are not able to see ourselves. But what happens when the sun comes? As soon as we see the sun, we are seeing ourselves, right? So we are able to see at least our body. So we have got this experience. So this sunshine and the sunlight is like seeing Krishna. And seeing Krishna, when we see Krishna, then we are able to see ourselves. Because what is our relationship to Krishna? Krishna speaks that in chapter 15 of Bhagavad Gita. He says, Mamo Vamshe Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana Mana Shasthani Indriyani Prakriti Sthani Karshati. So we are all the part and parcel of Krishna, and we are struggling in this material world with all the senses which include mind. So we are the part and parcel of Krishna. Supreme Self is Krishna. When we see Krishna and when we know about the science of Krishna consciousness, then we also understand who we are. Actually, we are not this body. We are the soul, right? So we have to keep reminding ourselves, because we are so much in the bodily conception of life. So in the Vedas also it has been mentioned who is the Supreme Self. In the Katha Upanishad it has been mentioned Nitya Nityanam Chetanas Chetanam. The Supreme Lord is eternal, and the living being is also eternal. So how about Krishna? Krishna is cognizant, he knows everything. And living being is also cognizant, but there is a difference, right? In the 13th chapter, if you all remember, there are 2 Kshetragya. Does anybody remember who are those 2 Kshetragyas in the 13th chapter? Like
The soul and the super soul.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Yes, the soul and the super soul. So there are the 2 knowers of the field. One is like the Kshetragyas are 2. That is, as Mataji said, super soul and soul. But the difference is that, what's the difference, Mataji? Would you like to tell?
Yes, Mataji. The super soul is conscious of all bodies, what's going on in all bodies, whereas the individual soul is only conscious of what's happening in the particular body that it inhabits.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. So as Mataji rightly pointed out and said that, because if there is something happening in my body, I'm conscious of just my body pains and pleasures. But what about the Supreme Soul, Kshetragya, who is the knower of all the bodies, is Krishna. He knows each and every living being, right? Because he's sitting right as a Paramatma, and he's the complete knower. We know, but we are very limited, right? We don't know how our body functions when we eat the food, how it get transferred into energy. So amazing, right? It's like a machine. And if we don't eat, then we feel so tired, and maybe we don't have energy to work, so we feel weakness. So how our complete body works, we don't know. This is the Supreme Lord's arrangement that he has been making, and he is also giving the supplies to all the necessity of life to the other living beings. So we cannot be compared to Krishna, because we are also self, but we are the individual self, or the very, very tiny living being. So is Krishna. Krishna is the supreme consciousness, and once we fix our attention to Krishna, that means we are fixing our attention to self. Because what happens when we do the bodily activities? So we are so much absorbed in the body relationship, and so much absorbed in the material world, doing so many things of this material world. And sometimes we might forget, okay, these activities, will it gonna make me happy eternally? We never think. We just consider this temporary life, maybe 60, 70 years or 80 years. How much a person can maximum, maximum duration of life, right? It used to be 100 years, but we hardly see now somebody is living at 100. If we see somebody 80s, 85, we see, oh, so much long life, right? So that's what. So when we engage ourselves in Krishna consciousness activity, we get a chance to realize that we are fixing ourselves in the supreme self, as well as in the self activity. Because what is the self is the soul. So if we fix our mind in Krishna, then our mind will be fixed in everything, because that's the ultimate goal of the life. But if we fix our mind in any other things of this material world, then what's going to happen? It just takes away our time. That happens. We have to keep reminded ourselves that I am engrossed in this particular activity, but what's happening? My day by day is passing. So ayur harati vai pumsham. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, I don't remember the exact words, like all the lines I forgot, but in that verse it has been mentioned that the sun, by rising and setting up daily, it takes away the life, right? It takes away the life of all the living being, but it is unable to take away the life of those person who are glorifying the supreme personality of Godhead, who has been praised by the choicest of prayers, Uttama Shloka Varta, right? So that's what we have to understand. So the devotee's life, see, if the external point of view, anybody can say that, okay, devotee is also dying. You see a lot of devotees die, and we are also not immortal in this material body. We are immortal as a sense, we are soul, but for this particular body we have got some lease timing, right? As we buy up or rent apartment, we have some lease. Maybe you can stay for 6 months or for 1 year, like that. So we have got some years to spend in this body. And what we have to do, since this is a, Prabhupada always says, this is a bad bargain. Getting a material body is not good. It's a bad bargain, but we have to use good use of this bad bargain, right? We have got this material body. Now we are in this body, but what we have to supposed to do, we have got this wonderful knowledge of Krishna consciousness. So we have to engage more and more in Krishna conscious activities. Sometimes all those activities which we considered are our eternal thing, but if we see from the eternity point of view, this is something like if a child, right? If you see a child, if a person is born in someone's family, right? So that person might be in some other family, correct? Because all of us have millions and millions of birth, and we were also in some other family. So we have to start all over again, right? We have to start through learning how to walk, how to crawl, how to do this, how to, so many things we have to do. And isn't it that we have done it in our earlier life? We have done chewing the chewed, what Prahlad Maharaj says. So how when we fix ourselves in Krishna's activities, in Krishna consciousness, it's like if you take an example of your body. So if you feed your stomach, right, you will feel that you have been supplied a nice nutritious food, and your stomach is nicely filled, and then you can concentrate on the other activities, and keeping your health is also good. But and it is also right, as an example given in Srimad Bhagavatam, that the root of the tree, similarly in the body, stomach is the root. If I feed my stomach, if a hand goes on strike that I will not put the food in the mouth, then we are not going to get the energy. So that these part and parcel, like our body as a whole, but these hands, legs, these are all part and parcel, and they have to support the stomach. If they go on strike, then our whole body will become weak and our existence will be nil. Similarly, another example in the Bhagavatam has been given that we have to water the root. It is a foolishness to try to water every branch, leaves, flower, twigs. But as soon as we pour the water in the tree, all of these branches get nourished. So we are also part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. When we fix ourselves in Krishna, then we can see the self. That's what is mean in this verse, to see the self. And Prabhupada also makes a point in the purport end that if we engage in Krishna conscious activity, these all things we can attain very easily, because they have to sit, they have to seize the senses. We are not seizing our senses to do the activity. We are dictating the activity. Like if you take an example of eating, everybody in this material world or in this world, everybody eats, right? So that eating activities, how we are doctoring to Krishna consciousness, we are preparing food, but we are offering as a sacrifice to Krishna first, because we understand Krishna is the supplier of all necessities. At the end, we can say that we are buying it from our money, but the ability to earn the money is also comes from Krishna, right? Because what's your material body is made up of? So as a soul, we are part and parcel of Krishna, and this material body is made up of earth, water, fire, air, in ether. And Krishna says these are my energies. So this body itself is a gift of Krishna. So we have to sometimes we will be thinking that, okay, how will I understand Krishna is a supplier? Krishna is a supplier because these scientists or anybody else, they cannot produce these grains, right? If a one grain has to be produced in the laboratory, they cannot do that. It comes from the earth when the seed has been sown in the earth, and the water and the sunlight. Krishna also says I am sunlight. So these are the things which has been given in the Bhagavad Gita, and for us very easy to understand that how Krishna is a supplier. So what we have to do, since Krishna is taking care of us so nicely, so the best service what we can do, we can execute Krishna consciousness. And as we all know, all of us know that Prabhupada, how he came to US and he has given this knowledge of Krishna consciousness to every one of us. And like now, do you think it is possible for us discussing Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, like on the Zoom call? We will be doing so many other things, we don't know. But because of Prabhupada mercy, we are able to discuss and listen and understand something about our eternal life. There is eternal life, something is there beyond this body. So, and Prabhupada says that's the best service. If somebody can execute Krishna consciousness and can give Krishna to other person, that's the best activities. So in the if a person is self-realized, they cannot, Prabhupada says that person cannot sit in the temple idly, because he will be thinking, oh, I got such a beautiful knowledge, and I have to give this knowledge to the other person. So preaching, so our essence of ISKCON is the preaching movement, right? So we have to preach this philosophy so that others also can take advantage of it. So it's very, very important that whoever, Prabhupada says clearly that who is a self-realized person, he cannot sit idly, because because he is so self-realized that he understands that all of us has been engaged in the material conception of life. What we have to do, the self-realized person, what he has to do, he has to raise ourselves to a consciousness of Krishna. And once we see Krishna as a supreme self, then we can see ourselves as a soul and part and parcel of Krishna. So a devotee like Prahlad Maharaj, right? Devotee is never satisfied to be simply elevating himself. There are series of verses. Prahlad Maharaj speaks that I don't want to be like these munis or sages who go to the Maunam Charanti, who goes to the forest, and they are simply after their own liberation. I want to go to the cities, and there I just want to preach Krishna consciousness, because for me, I am very happy being glorifying, I'm just missing out the words, but very beautiful series of the words. Tadvirya Gayanti, something like that. If anybody knows, they can remind me. So that line says that I am, as far as I am concerned, I am so happy glorifying you, so happy singing your glories. But these foolish people who are after this material life, I have to deliver them. So I want to go to the cities. I should not be like these munis who just go. Does anybody knows that verse which I'm saying? Okay. So we offer our respect to the Vaishnavas. How we offer our respect to the Vaishnavas? We all say Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhubhayavacha Patita Nam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Nama. Because Vaishnava devotee of the Lord, I offer my respectful obeisances. Why? Because they are just like the desire tree and they can fulfill the desire of everyone. They are very compassionate to the fallen soul. Because they have self-realized, they have seen the self. That's why they are so compassionate, because they are Kripa Sindhu, ocean of mercy, right? We say, hey Krishna, Karuna Sindhu, because Krishna is also like an ocean of mercy, right? Kripa Sindhu, ocean of mercy. So devotee is like that. So Prabhupada also talks about Jesus Christ, and he says that he was very God conscious. Why? Because he was not satisfied in himself, liberating himself. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been crucified, because he wanted to teach this God consciousness, become the lover of the God. That's why he got crucified. But that's the nature of the devotee, right? Like Haridas Thakur. If you remember the example when Haridas Thakur has been beaten in the 22 marketplaces, he was praying to the Lord that, my Lord, please save them. Please don't take any offense of them, because they don't know what they're doing. But they were trying to, hit him so hard that they wanted him to die, because the Muslim ruler has ordered, because he was Muslim and chanting the holy name. And he said, you take away my life, but I cannot stop chanting the holy name of the Lord. I'll be always chanting. And then he took, they were so amazed, this person is not dying. And then he asked what happened. They were so worried. And then Haridas, they said that if you don't die, then the ruler will not leave us. So then he said, but that, he said like, that's it. And that's in a moment, he just went into samadhi or trance, and it was like he was lifeless. And they just thrown his body into the river, and there he floated to the other place, and then he just woke up. Like, it was so amazed, right? So then the people understand his glories. But how he was so compassionate that even they were trying to kill, Haridas Thakur was helping them. So that was a person who will be self-realized, will be always in a merciful mood to the others, or always trying to help others. So that is the nature of the devotee. So that's how we see the self. Okay. So that's what it has been mentioned. And self-realized person, and even if you're trying to practice the self-realization, he cannot sit idle, right? Sitting idle, the person is most self-realized, he can sit idle, chant whole day. But for us, when we are in the sadhaka stage, we are practicing, we cannot do. That's very difficult, because our mind wanders here and there, and that we'll also discuss in when we'll discuss the next verse. But a self-realized person don't want to keep the knowledge with himself. So Ramanujacharya, I think we all know that when his Guru Maharaj is told that, this mantra you don't give to anybody. But Ramanujacharya, because he was so compassionate to the fallen condition, he said, oh, I cannot do that. And he publicly declared the mantra. So then his spiritual master said, I'm okay to go to hell. And this is a similar situation in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Vasudev Dutt, he said that I want to go to hell, because he was who? He was Prahlad Maharaj. So like that, these are the self-realized devotees who declare publicly. They just don't think that, I should keep it to myself. I got this mantra. They think about delivering the complete people, because why? Because they see them as the part and parcel of Krishna. They see them as the soul, not like a covering, right? So Shuni Cheva Shupakecha Pandita Samadarshina. So they see the soul, not the covering as a material body. So even if a cat is there or a animal is there, so how do a devotee see? We cannot invite the cat, dog, or squirrel, or any kind of animal or bird and beast, but how we can help them to give the prasadam. So we should now and then try to help this living entity, because when they get some prasadam, they somehow or other get the sukruti to be get elevated in their next life, right? So we should help them in such a way. Like Prabhupada also says that we should not think that we are seeing Krishna in everything. So let me not worship Krishna and just worship this tiger or just worship this other man. That's a wrong way of seeing Krishna. Seeing Krishna in everything means seeing Krishna. Krishna is a super soul present, and these all are the part and parcel of Krishna. That's what seeing self and the supreme self. So Prabhupada also talks about this, when in the country, right, in these Western countries, when the people come and they say, okay, I have a private mantra I want to give you, and they just charge some $50, $35, then people will be thinking that they will go and take this mantra. They don't think that if this mantra is powerful, then why it has not been given to all the people, like this Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna mantra. Do you think that this con people teaching other person, they're not charging anything for Hare Krishna mantra? Have you ever seen that? So because this mantra is so powerful and it should be given to publicly, why it should be hidden from the people? Because this is the mantra which is very powerful in this Kali Yuga and can elevate ourselves. Sometimes we undermine the power of mantra because it has been given to us like that, right? Or we are able to chant. So we have to be very focused when we chant the Hare Krishna mantra. So because why this modern society is like that? Because modern society is the people around us is cheating, and the Prabhupada says a cheating principle and the cheated people. So Prabhupada also talks about that if some I says I'm the Swami and I'm the God, and they, oh, let me worship this Swami. Why? Because they don't inquire how you become God and what are the symptom of the God. These people have been foolish, right? In India, there are so many Babas. People, I think actually they worship them like a god, and then some scandal comes about them. I know some one or two, because they are not Babas, right? They are just cheating the people, thinking that and saying that, claiming that I'm next to God or I'm like the God. So fool people, the society of the cheated and the cheaters, like that Prabhupada says. So why this mantra has been given with the price? Because it should not be given in a price or a private mantra, because it's a very beneficial mantra. Okay, this is what I had to discuss for 25 verse. Does anybody has any comment, any corrections? They can do so. Then we'll go to next verse. If somebody has anything, we can take that up.
Mataji, when you talked about Haridas Thakur and how he was thrown into the river and then walked away from the river because to save those Muslim people, because they were so scared if we go and report to the ruler that we have not killed you, then we will be killed. So he took compassion and he pretended. And I remember Prabhupada saying about Jesus Christ, about the resurrection. He said Jesus Christ did not die. He made a show of dying. So I'm thinking maybe Jesus Christ also went into Samadhi and then woke up in 3 days or whatever, according to the Christian Bible, the resurrection, the Easter that they celebrate. Maybe it's similar to Haridas Thakur. I'm thinking about the parallel between the two Leelas. Haridas Thakur also was persecuted badly.
Yeah.
And he said the same thing, forgive them, And Jesus said the same thing. Lord Jesus Christ said, Father, forgive them for they know not what they do. It's the famous biblical statement. And I think what Prabhupada said was absolutely correct about that. He made a show of dying, Same thing with Haridas Thakur. He went into Samadhi, but then he walked away from the river. So he really did not die.
Yeah. Thank you, Mataji, for that very nice comparison you were thinking. when we were discussing. Yes, that because Prabhupada always respected Jesus Christ because he was a lover of the God. He doesn't say that if you love the God in your religion, then that's good, but they don't follow the Christianity as the way they should, right? Thou shalt not kill. That Prabhupada always says that. Yes, Mataji, that's a very good point you made. Thank you for that. Anybody else want to share anything or correct anything?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you for the class. I was thinking about the last point you made before you ended the class, that we don't put a price to the Mahamantra and we freely give it to everyone, especially Lord Chaitanya, because before his time, I believe the Mahamantra was a secret mantra, but he gave it to everyone. And one thing I heard from somewhere, I don't recall from where now, but when something is priceless, if you put a price to it, that itself is disrespecting that thing because you're devaluing that thing. If something is priceless, then you can never put a price to it. So the most valuable things have to be free, because if you put a price to them, then that means you're devaluing or undermining their meaningfulness.
Thank you, Mataji. Yes, you have rightly said that because of that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, we got this as freely distributed to the public, else we wouldn't have. So we should so much be respected to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he have distributed this to all of us. Yes, that's right. Thank you, Mataji, for adding that. So we have some time. We can go through the next verse as we have already read the 26th verse, but let me just see the translation for it one more time. I will read the translation of 26 now. From wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature. Because why it has been talked about the mind here? Because mind need to be controlled. In each of the practice of yoga, the first thing is to control the mind, because mind is really flickering, unsteady nature, and one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back to the control of the self. So that's the first process to control the mind, right? So any yoga system, we have to control the mind. So like if we are trying to even execute our Krishna consciousness, our mind will say, in the initial days when we were not so much dedicated to Prabhupada's movement. So you might have seen, right? Maybe some of us attracted to cinema house, right? Or some of us attracted to so much of doing shopping or any other thing. So then we have to bring our mind back, right? We have to say, no, we have to concentrate on Krishna. No, we don't have to go to the cinema. We have to chant our round, or we don't have to go and eat outside, because we should eat Krishna Prasadam. So that kind of struggle will be there in the starting, but that will automatically take you to the high or elevated stage, wherein if somebody talk you that I will give you $1,000, then also we don't would like to go for cinema house to watch that stupid picture, right? Because we think just a waste of time. And if somebody would tell you, okay, I'll give you $1,000, you come and eat with me this restaurant, you're never gonna do that if you are seriously practicing Krishna consciousness. So that how we got that elevation, because of practicing Krishna consciousness. So but sometime our mind goes away from Krishna. That's the practice we have to do. We have to don't allow our mind to go away from Krishna. When we are more absorbed in the materialistic activities, then our mind goes away from Krishna. But when we try to fix our mind to Krishna, do Krishna conscious activity, then our mind will not wander, right? And Prabhupada also says, it's sitting, as I was saying, that sitting at one place and thinking about always Krishna, 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 that might be difficult for us as a sadhaka, right? Because we are not fully self-realized. So what would happen? That's a very difficult job. If I ask you to sit 8 hours in a room and just think about Krishna, that's very difficult, right? But what we can do, some practice we have been given, sit, think about Krishna, chant Hare Krishna, and then do the services. So dovetail your activity. Like you have to eat, so you have to make some prasadam, some boga. So make some bhoga, offer to Krishna, and then eat, right? So maybe if you have a fasting tendency of doing it other days, somebody fast on Monday, like a karma kanda activity to get a good husband and wives or wife, or somebody fast to get some money, or on Fridays Lakshmi Puja. So to tell these, because you have a habit of fasting, you do this as mentioned in the Shastras, like the Ekadashi. Today is a very auspicious Ekadashi. So fast on Ekadashis, because these are the fasting which will purify our existence. So these type of fasting we should do as mentioned, and also celebrating the Lord's appearance, and like as coming, Prabhupada's appearance, Krishna Janmashtami, Balram Jayanti, all these are just lined up. Radha Ashtami. So very, very wonderful way of celebrate. It's like a celebration, Krishna consciousness is a celebration. Pyare Prabhu also talked about, right? Sasukham kartum avyayam, because this is very nice activity. Like sitting down, doing nothing, it's very difficult. But as soon as when we do some activities, we engage our all the senses. So if you remember in the purport we read Rishikesha. So Rishikesha means the master of the senses. So when we engage our senses in the master, in the to satisfy the master of the senses, then our senses get purification, and with that purified senses we are able to understand ourselves, and it's very easy to control our mind. Just sitting and controlling mind is difficult, but when we are engaging, cooking for Krishna, cleaning for Krishna, right, anything, chanting for Krishna, dancing for Krishna, then we are able to fixed up in a much better way. Okay, so that's what. So we have to, initially we have to control, and you remember Prabhupada talked about Godasa and Goswami in that verse. So what does that mean? Godasa means whatever my senses want, I am doing that to satisfy my senses, right? Whatever my senses says, I just do, and center of the senses is mind. So mind tell you to go there, you just run there. The mind tell you to go there, do this, and you just go do that. So mind is dictating, and our senses are running behind the mind. That should not be there. That is called a Godasa. And what about the Goswami? Goswamis means they have completely controlled over their mind and the senses. So how? Because I am engaging my eyes to see Krishna's form. I am engaging my legs to go to the temple. So that way we become, try to become the master of the senses, not whatever our senses want. Go here, there, whatever you want to, whenever you want sleep, whatever you want to eat, like that. No, control the senses, eat whatever is offered to Krishna, like that. That start from the tongue. So vibration of the holy name and eating Krishna Prasadam. That's a two activity starting from the tongue can help us control so much of our senses. Right? So Goswami is not a title. Prabhupada says Goswami is who is really the master of the senses, right? So as you all know, there were 6 Goswamis, correct? They were the master of the senses, right? Like Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami. So all these were the master of the senses. Earlier, they were the minister. We all know they were not Goswami, but as soon as they became the disciple of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sanatan Rupa Goswami has been trained by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy was there on them, so they became the Goswami. So it's not a title. Prabhupada always says, sometimes people think that Goswami is a caste or something. No, it has been a title, not a title. It has been a position that has been given because of that what you call the art of controlling the senses, not controlled by the senses. Also Rupa Goswami in Nectar of Instruction quotes Vacho Vegam Manasakroda Vegam Jiva Vegam Taravaikapa Upasta Vegam Etan Vegan Yuvishehita Dhira Prithim Sasishyat. So what is that verse says? Vacho Vegam. So these Vegam means what? Vegam means the urge to speak. Like if you think in a simple example, when we have to attend a nature call, we have to go. That's a Vegam, that's the urge, we have to go, right? So similarly here, Rupa Goswami speaks who can become a spiritual master, who is a Goswami, a sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak. So Vacho Vegam, Krodha Vegam, the anger, the urge of anger, because in anger we want to do some action. Obviously that will not be the good action. So action of anger, who can tolerate the urge to speak, tolerate the mind demand, who can tolerate the urges of tongue, belly, genital. That person is supposed to be the spiritual master, and he can make the disciple all over the world. So these pushings, if somebody can check these 6 pushings, urges, then that person is called a Goswami. Not not like myself, right? So much controlled by the senses. So we have to not act on these pushings of talking, mind, and pushing of anger. So you have to keep reminding ourselves. I have to also remind myself, because these things are really difficult to follow, but we just reading and focusing on these Goswamis' life, we just get a little attraction, and we obviously cannot imitate themselves, but we can try to follow and try to get inspired from their examples. So how much renounced they were, that they were living in the tree, and it has been mentioned different trees in Vrindavan, so that they don't have the attachment to that particular tree, and they were the Mandalapati. Earlier they were the most richest person at at that time, 500 years back, but they have left everything and became the disciple of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? So, and also it has been mentioned Yuktahara Viraha Viharasya, right? That words in this chapter only, that we have to regulate in our habit of eating or sleeping, because what happens when we eat more, our belly is filled, then maybe our genital push us to do sense gratification. So that also should not happen, because that pushing is there. Prabhupada always says, when we are overfilled, then our genital will have the sense, demands. So that urges we have to control. So whoever will be able to control these urges, that person can become the spiritual master, not any other person. That is a yoga practice. So yoga practice is nothing just some postures of doing some yoga. It's a proper way to control the mind, is the yoga practice. That's what has been mentioned in this words about the Goswamis and how we have to bring back the mind. If anybody has anything to share, they can share or correct, or anything that they would like to add, or so that's what these 2 verses were all about: controlling the mind and seeing the self. If nobody has anything, then we can. Today is Pavitrupana Ekadashi, so we can read about the Ekadashi today. It's very auspicious to read about the Ekadashi. Since we have 10 minutes, we can definitely read about it. So let me quickly share my screen. I am not monitoring the chat if somebody is saying something. Sorry, Mataji. I missed your chat. I was not seeing. You have any comments, Sugopi Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. So when you were speaking about Godasa and Goswami, I remembered a verse describing Hiranyakashipu, which said, in spite of achieving the power to control in all directions, and in spite of enjoying all types of dear sense gratification as much as possible, Hiranyakashipu was dissatisfied, because instead of controlling his senses, he remained their servant. So in this world, people's greatness is measured by how they can control others. But in spiritual life, our greatness is measured by how we can control our own senses. And when we do that, then we'll become Goswamis and we'll become satisfied. And Prabhupada, as you said, Prabhupada discusses the same thing in the Nectar of Instructions, first verse.
Thank you, Mataji. And whenever Prahlad Maharaj and Hiranyakashipu, right? I mean, in each and every verses, you can connect to them. So wonderful pastime of Bhagavatam, Prahlad Maharaj and Hiranyakashipu, right? Thank you for adding that. That's a very nice verse you quoted. Do you know the number of that verse which you are saying, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. 7:4:19.
Thank you, Mataji. I'll look into it after the class, but very nice words you quoted. And also, I remember one of the thing as you were saying. So Alexander the Great, if you might have heard this story, Alexander the Great, one time he went to see some sadhu and he sent his assistants and said that tell this sadhu that Alexander the Great has wanted to meet. So this sadhu was doing his meditation and he just said he has to wait because I am on my meditation and I will meet him after some time. This assistant came and said the same thing, but this Alexander said, do he really know who I am? Like that. And then he went again. No, then this time, second time, this Alexander himself went because he was very angry that how can this person, I am the emperor of the entire world, how can he say that he cannot meet me right now? His ego got hurt. So then he said, how can you say that? You have just 10 seconds to explain, otherwise your throat will be cut by my sword. So he just said like that. So what this person says, yes, I know you are the servant of my servant. And when he heard that, he became so much agitated. But he's saying, servant of the servant, I am the emperor of the world, like that. And he said, you just explain what you were saying. So he said that I have controlled my senses, so they are my servant. But what about you? You have not able to control your senses, so you are the servant of the my servant, because the senses are my servant. But what about you? You got angry, right? So you got in that anger, you have decided to this and that. So you're the servant of the servant, like that. Just wanted to share that story. I'll quickly share my screen now, and if anybody would like to read, they can do so. We can. Yes.
Do you want me to read, Mataji?
You can do so, Mataji.
Where? Okay. Shri Yudhishthira Maharaj said, O Madhusudana, O killer of the Madhu demon, please be merciful to me and describe to me the Ekadashi that occurs during the light fortnight of the month of Shravana, July, August. The Supreme Lord Shri Krishna replied, yes, O king, I shall happily narrate its glories to you. For just by hearing about the sacred Ekadashi, one attains the merit of performance of a horse sacrifice. Do you want me to go on, or somebody else wants to do it? Okay, go ahead, Mataji.
Yeah. Who said Radhika?
Tulasi.
Okay. Go.
At the dawn of Dwapar Yuga, there lived a king by name of Mahajata, who ruled the kingdom of Mashmiti Pura. Because he had no son, his entire kingdom seemed utterly childless to him. A married man who has no sons gains no happens in life, or the next Sanskrit word of sari. A putra Pupiyu is the name of a particular hell, and to mitra means deliver.
Thank you. Anybody wants? Okay, so I can continue. Thus, the word putra means a person who deliver one from the hell named Pu. Therefore, every married man should produce at least one son and train him properly. Then the father will be delivered from a hellish condition of life. But this injunction does not apply to the serious devotee of Lord Vishnu or Krishna, for the Lord becomes their son, father, and mother. Furthermore, Chanakya Pandit says, Satyam Mata Pita Janaham Dharmo Bhrata Daya Sakha Santihi Patni Shama Putra Sadete Mama Vantavaha. Truth is my mother, knowledge is my father, my occupational duty is my brother, kindness is my friend, tranquility is my wife, and forgiveness is my son. These 6 are my family members. Among the 26 leading qualities of a devotee of the Lord, Forgiveness is the topmost. Therefore, the devotee should make an extra endeavor to develop this quality. Anybody wants to go? Okay. Here, Chanakya Pandit says, forgiveness is my son, and thus a devotee of the Lord, even though he may be on the path of renunciation, may observe this Ekadashi and pray to attain the kind of a son. For a long time, this king tried very hard to obtain a heir, but to no avail. Seeing he is here and advancing ever onward, King Mahijita became increasingly anxious. One day, he told an assembly of his advisors, I have committed no sin in this life, and there is no ill-gotten wealth in my treasury. I have never usurped the offerings of demigods or brahmanas. So the diplomatically keep on. When I waged war and conquered kingdom, I followed the regulations of ancient art, and I have protected my subjects as if they were my own children. I punished even my own relatives if they broken the law. They broke the law, and if my enemy was gentle and religious, I welcomed him. O twice born souls, although I am religious and faithful follower of the Vedic standard, still my home is without a son. Kindly tell me the reason for this. Hearing this, the king's Brahmana advisors discussed the subject among themselves, and with the aim of benefiting the king, they visited the various ashramas of the great sages. At last, they came upon a sage who was austere, pure, and self satisfied, and who was strictly observing a vow fasting. His senses were completely under control. He had conquered his anger, and he was expert at performing his occupational duty. Indeed, this great sage was expert in all the conclusion of the Vedas, and he had extended his lifespan to that of the Lord Brahma himself. His name was Lomasha Rishi, and he knew past, present, and future. After each kalpa passed, one hair would fall out of his body. One kalpa, 12 hours of Lord Brahma, equals these many years. All the kings, Brahmanas, advisors very happily approached him one by one to offer their humble respect. Captivated by this great soul, King Mahijata's advisors offered obeisances to him and said very respectfully, only because of our great good fortune, O sage, have we been allowed to see you. Lomasha Rishi saw them bowing down to him and replied, kindly let me know why you have come here. Why are you praising me? I must do all I can solve to your problem. For sages like me have only one interest to help others. Do not doubt this. Lomasha Rishi had all good qualities because he was a devotee of the Lord. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 5:18-12, यस्याते भक्तिर्भगवती किंचना सर्वैर्गुणैस्तत्र समाशते सुराहरावभक्त्यः स्कुता महद्गुणा मनोरथ manorathena sati bhavato bhavi. In one who has unflinching devotional service to Krishna, all good qualities of Krishna and the demigods are consistently manifested. However, he who has no devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead has no good qualification because he is engaged by mental concoction, mental existence, which is the external feature of the Lord. The king's representative said, we have come to you, O exalted sage, to ask for your help in solving a very serious problem. O sage, you are like like Lord Brahma. Indeed, there is no better sage in the entire world. Our king Mahijata is without a son, though he has sustained and protected us if we were his son. Seeing him so unhappy on account of being sonless, we have become very sad, O sage, and therefore we have entered the forest to perform severe austerities. By our good fortune, we happened upon by our good fortune, we happened upon you. Everyone's desire and activities become successful just by our darshan. Thus, we humbly ask that you tell us how our king can obtain a son. Hearing this sincere plea, Lomasha Rishi absorbed himself in deep meditation for a moment, but at once understood the king's previous life. Then he said, your ruler was a merchant in his previous life, and feeling his wealth insufficient, he committed sinful deeds. He traveled to many villages to trade his goods. Once at noon on the day after the Ekadashi that comes during the light fortnight of the month of Jaishta, Trivikrama, May and June, he became thirsty while traveling from place to place. He came upon a beautiful pond on the outskirts of a village, but just as he was about to drink at the pond, a cow arrived there. with her newborn calf. These two creatures were also very thirsty because of the heat, but when the cow and calf started to drink, the merchant rudely showed them aside and selflessly slacked his own thirst. His offense against a cow and her calf had insulted in Yo's king being without a son now. But the good deed he performed in his previous life had given him rulership over an undisturbed kingdom. Hearing this, the king's advisers replied, O renowned Rishi, we have heard that the Vedas say one can nullify the effect of one's past sin by acquiring merit. Be so kind as to give us some instruction by which our king's sin can be destroyed. Please give him your mercy so that a prince will take birth in his family. Lomasha said, there is an Ekadashi called Putrada, which comes during the light fortnight of the month of Shravana. On this day, all of you, including your king, should fast and stay awake all night, strictly following rules and regulations. Then you should give the king whatever merit you gain by this fast. If you follow this instruction of mine, he will surely be blessed with a fine son. All the king's advisors became very pleased to hear these words from Lomasha Rishi, and they all offered him their grateful obeisances. Then, their eyes bright with happiness, they returned home. When the month of Shravana arrived, the king's advisor remembered the advice of Lomasha Rishi, and under their direction, all the citizens of Mahishmata Puri, as well as the king, fasted on Ekadashi. And on the next day, Dwadashi, the citizens dutifully offered their accrued merit to him. By the strength of all this merit, the queen became pregnant and eventually gave birth to the most beautiful son. O Yudhishthira, Lord Krishna concluded, the Ekadashi that comes during the light fortnight of the month of Shravana has thus rightfully become famous as Putrada Ekadashi, bestower of a son. Whoever desires happiness in this world and the next should certainly fast from all grains and legumes on this holy day. Indeed, whoever simply hears the glories of Putrada Ekadashi becomes completely free from all sins, is blessed with a good son, and surely ascends to heaven after that. Thus end the narration of the glories of Shravana Shukla Ekadashi or Putrada Ekadashi from the Bhavishya Purana. Thank you, everyone. So we have discussed today 625, 626, and also we have read the glories of Putrada Ekadashi. So thank you. We offer our prayers.
Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnavanda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Padmalochani Mataji ki jai.